Do you see the verse?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, thank you, Mataji. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
So we are going to recite the shloka for today. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3rd, Chapter 14, verse number 18. सर्वाश्रमानुपादाय स्वाश्रमेण कलत्रवान् व्यस व्यसनानवम् अत्येति जलयाने यथा नवम् सर्वाश्रमानुपादाय स्वाश्रमेण कलत्रवान् व्यसनानवम् अत्येति जलयानेर्यथा नवम् सर्वाश्रमानुपादाय स्वाश्रमेण कलत्रवान् व्यसनानवम् अत्येति जलयानेर्यथा नवम्. Hare Krishna, if any devotees would like to recite.
सर्वाश्रमान् उपादाय स्वाश्रमेण कलात्रवान् व्यसनार्णवम् अत्येति जलयानैर्यतार्णवाम् हरे कृष्ण
Thank you,
Hare
Mata.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sarva asraman upadaya sa asramena kalatrabhan bhasayan arnavan atiyeti jalayanin yatha arnabam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
सर्वाश्रमान् उपादाय स्वश्रमेण कलत्रवान् व्यसनार्णवम् अत्येति जलयानेर्यतार्णवम्.
Hare Krishna.
सर्वाश्रमान् उपादाय स्वाश्रमेण कलत्रवान् व्यसनार्णवम् अत्येति जलयानैर्यथार्णवम्.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll move on. Okay. Synonyms. Sarva, all. Ashraman, social orders. Upadaya, completing. Swa, own. Ashramena, by the social orders. Kalatravan, a person living with wife. Vyasana, Arnavam, the dangerous ocean of material existence. Atyeti, one can cross over. Jaliyanah, with sea-going vessels. Yatha, as. Arnavam, the ocean. Translation. As one can cross over the ocean with sea-going vessels, one can cross the dangerous situation of the material ocean by living with a wife. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. There are four social orders for cooperation in the endeavor for liberation from material existence. The order of brahmacharya or pious student life, household life with a wife, retired life, and renounced life all depend for successful advancement on the householder who live with a wife. This cooperation is essential for proper functioning of the institution of the four social orders and the four spiritual orders of life. This Vedic Varnashrama system is generally known as the caste system. The man who lives with a wife has a great responsibility in maintaining the members of the other social orders, the brahmacharis, the vanaprasthas, and the sannyasis. Except for the grastas or the householders, everyone is supposed to engage in spiritual advancement of life. And therefore, the brahmachari, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasi have very little time to earn a livelihood. They therefore collect alms from the grahasthas, and thus they secure the bare necessities of life and cultivate spiritual understanding. By helping the other three sections of the society cultivate spiritual values, the householder also makes advancement in spiritual life. Ultimately, every member of society automatically becomes spiritually advanced and easily crosses the ocean of nescience. Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So I welcome all the devotees for today's morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis before I start. Vancha kalpataruvishcha kripasindhubhyo. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3rd, Chapter 14, verse number 18. The chapter title itself describes the what is being discussed in this chapter, the pregnancy of Diti in the evening. That's the title of this chapter, chapter number 14. And this chapter starts with the inquiry from Vidura to Maitreya Muni. So we have been doing so many chapters covering the conversation between Maitreya Muni and Mahatma Vidur. So many chapters we have covered. And the conversation is basically Vidura is inquiring from Maitreya Muni, and Maitreya Muni is answering his questions. And in reply to Vidura's questions, the pastimes of the Lord is being discussed. So here, when Vidura asked question about relating to what he heard in the previous chapter. In previous chapter, he heard about how Lord Varahadev killed Hiranyaksh. So relating to that, he got an inquiry in his mind that what was the cause of the fight between them. So that inquiry came and he put it forward to the Maitreya Muni. And when Maitreya Muni heard this inquiry from Vidura, he congratulated him. Because in this material world, we see so many inquiries are made. People ask so many questions relating to political things, social things, or so many things. But when we discuss the pastimes of the Lord, here we see Vidura is asking about the pastime of Varahadev and Hiranyaksh. So when we discuss the pastime of the Lord, that is beneficial to for everyone. Yeah. When other topics are discussed, maybe a person who is asking, he might get some benefit or she might get some benefit. But when the topics related to the pastimes, activities, birth, appearance of the Lord are discussed, it is beneficial for society as a whole, for everyone. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma Karam Cha Me Divyam. His activities, his pastimes, his appearance, all are transcendental. So when Maitre Muni heard this inquiry from Vidura, he congratulated him. He was very pleased because by this inquiry, they're going to discuss about the pastime of Lord and his devotees. What happened? Why this fight happened? So all these details he asked, and Maitre Muni will be answering this very happily. Very happily, he will answer all these inquiries made by Mahatma Vidur. Mahatma Vidur, like as we know, he's also not an ordinary person. So he's not talking about something just mundane like any topic. Very relevant questions. Very relevant. Sometimes we see people just ask like questions like which is the topic is being discussed and they will ask us random questions. So we should be very careful when we ask questions. Yeah, we should be very careful. So here, like Maitre Muni will describe the whatever inquiry was made by Vidura. And in relation to that, he discussed a pastime about how once upon a time the Diti, Diti, who is Diti? Diti is the daughter of Daksha. Daksha. And who is Daksha? Daksha is one of the Prajapatis, the son of Brahmaji. So Diti, she approached her husband, Kashyap Muni, who is the son of Marichi. She approached her husband for with a desire. With a desire. What was the desire? She wanted to have a child. She wanted to have a child. And there is nothing wrong in this desire. Like she is a wife of Kashyap Muni and she wanted to have a child. So she approached her husband. And she approached her husband with this request. At the time, Sandhya time, like there are three Sandhya. Sandhya is a transition period, transition periods in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And this period is recommended in the scriptures. It is recommended this period should be used for spiritual activities. For example, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chanting of holy names of the Lord, or doing any doing arti, like we see in the morning arti is done, in the afternoon arti is done, and in the evening also there is arti. So this time is specifically, the sandhya time is specifically meant for spiritual activities. The Gayatri, the Brahman chant their Gayatri three times, three sandhyam, morning, afternoon, evening. So this is the time which is specifically recommended for spiritual activities. Yeah, spiritual activities. And this time when we see that when Diti approached Kashyap, Kashyap Muni, he was in trance after offering oblations in fire sacrifice. So he was sitting in trance. At that moment, he approached her husband. Looks little, because Diti is also not, she's not an ordinary female like the today's world girl, like how the female, or and Kashyap Muni is also not an ordinary person. But we see that she had such a strong desire to have a child. She didn't even think of the timing, that my husband is sitting in trance, he's offering his Sandhya prayers. this is not the right time to approach. It's okay that the desire was right, but this was not the right time to approach. Yeah. Sometimes we see we have some desires, we have some, we want to do something, and whatever we want to do, it might be right thing, it might not be wrong thing, but in doing that, in achieving that desire, we should be very careful that we don't do wrong activity, we don't do wrong things. Yeah, like we have to do service. As a devotees, we know that. Sorry, yeah. As devotees, we know that we are involved in doing services, and doing service is important for us. We have to do it, but we should be careful. We should be careful that we should not do offend anyone, or we should not. If someone else is doing, we should not try to take their service, something like that. Or if someone is in need of money, because of some family reason. They might need money for education of their children, or they might need education for some paying their bills or something. And it's a genuine need. They need money. It's not like it's a it's illogical. But in needing that needing of money, that person should not do wrong activities. Okay, I will do something, I will steal, or I will cheat someone. That is not recommended. So here also we see that the desire of Diti to have a child is not wrong, but in that desire she became so much engrossed that all my there were other wives of Kashyap Muni, who were sisters of Diti. They all had children. They all had children. So Diti is thought, I am the only one who is left. Why? What wrong did I do? So she was contemplating on this over the period of time, and at that moment she just didn't even think. She forgot that this is not the right time. I should approach my husband, and she approached him, and giving of all the reasons, she gave various reasons. Oh, what wrong did I do? It's your duty. You're a great person. If I have come to you with some desire, you should fulfill it. And all my other co-wives, have children, so I should also have it. I'm so faithful. Why I'm left without a child? So this desire she mentioned to her Kashyap Muni, and his trance was broken, and he heard all these things what Diti mentioned. And Kashyap Muni also, Prabhupada writes in the 16th, I think 16th verse of this chapter, that Kashyap Muni was also weak at his heart. He should have directly, it's his duty to give, to fulfill what the desire she came with, because that's to give a child to a wife. But he should have completely rejected the idea of the evening time. He should be strong in that this is not the right time, and we have to wait. That directly that should be given. That point should be given. But rather he started giving some how wife is important. So he started pacifying her in some ways, and then later he will give reasons why the union at this time is not right. So sometimes when someone is like, when we see in the families, like we have children, and if they're doing something wrong, if they're we have to stop them immediately. We have to stop them. Sometimes we try to, it's because the wrong thing, if it's totally wrong, it should be stopped immediately. So here also Kashyap Muni, instead of stopping her immediately at that point, chastising her, he continued and give her various things, how wife is important, you are so important, what is the duty of wife, and so many things will come here. Yeah. So here, like yesterday's verse also we covered that how wife allows husband to attain dharma, artha, and kama. That verse was discussed. And the today's verse, specifically what we're discussing today, is the translation says, but how by living with wife and supporting other ashramas, one can cross this material ocean. This material world in scriptures we see has been compared to many things. It's compared to ocean, like ocean is very huge. So this material world is very huge, in the sense it is very difficult to cross it. Then sometimes the material world is compared to a prison house. uh, Sometimes material world is compared to dense forest. Sometimes in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Prahlad Maharaj says, Andhakupam, like it's like a dense forest, especially the Grihastha life he mentioned, Andhakupam, uh, dark well. Its material world is a dark well, and it's very deep with no happiness. So in scriptures, material world is compared to so many things, and here it is compared to the material ocean. To cross the ocean, we need a boat. We need a boat. Without boat and a strong boat, and if there is no boat, there is no chance. And similarly, here he's saying, Kashyap Muni is saying, by living with wife and supporting other ashramas, one can cross this material ocean, which is very difficult. So you are acting as a boat. The wife, in this particular verse, the analogy is that wife act as a boat to cross this ocean of material world, which is full of miseries. So in the purport of this in this of this verse, Srila Prabhupada gave great emphasis on the Grihastha ashram. Grihastha ashram. We always hear this this word brahmachari ashram, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, sannyas ashram. So ashram is the place of where spiritual values are cultivated, place of spiritual shelter. Yeah. So brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, all are these are ashrams. And there are four ashrams, as I just mentioned, the brahmachari, the grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. In a brahmachari, each ashram has its own specific duties. Yeah. It's not that we can just start randomly. Oh, I want to do this, so I'm doing this. That's what is happening in today's world. The brahmachari is a student life where from the beginning, like at certain age, the child is sent to a gurukul and they learn under the guidance of a guru, yeah, and they follow the rules and regulations which are mentioned for that particular age, uh, and they learn from the guru various things, and they don't earn anything. They go for begging alms, bhiksha, and when they get it, it's not that they got it and they will consume it. They give it to their guru first, and whatever guru offers them, they take it. So that is a brahmachari, right? Live a simple life, and no earning. Like in that was the system. We have seen in Mahabharata, the five Pandavas and even the Kauravas, they were sent to Gurukul, and they learned from Dronacharya. And in the Ramayana also, Lord Ram went to Gurukul. So we have this system. Even Lord Krishna, he went to Gurukul. Uh, um, so that was the system. So brahmachari life is that. And then after when the brahmachari, the first 20-25 years, then if the person wants to enter grihastha ashram, that is the grihastha life, where household life, where a person lives with a family. He gets married, then children are there. They he maintains the family, yeah, by earning. So this earning is possible only in the grihastha ashram, not in the other three ashramas like brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Only grihastha is allowed to earn, and he maintains his family. He protects and nourishes the family members in a spiritual way, not like in a materialistic way. And they teach the children spiritual values. and they give charity. They feed the people, to the poor and the whoever is needy. So that is expected from grahastha. Just living in a house with a wife and children doesn't make one a grahastha living in a grahastha ashram. That is not a grahastha ashram. People think that, oh, I'm a person living with a wife, I have a children, I'm maintaining my family, I'm living in a grahastha ashram. That is not a grahastha ashram. Grahastha ashram is a place where person lives according to the regulations, rules and regulations of scriptures. Otherwise, the person just living with a wife and children, maintaining them, maintaining himself and his expansions, like the children and and the wife, he's called Grahamedhi. Grahamedhi. His main purpose is to maintain the family or his extended family sometimes, by earning money by any means, and not worrying about how to live. Scriptures clearly define how a grasta should live, how her husband should live, what are the duties of husband, what are the duties of wife, and how they should live in the family, how they should cooperate with each other in performing their duties, how they should raise the children, how they should support the other three ashramas in the society, the brahmachari, vanprastha, and sannyas, that we'll discuss later on, like after a few minutes we're going to discuss that, how they have to support. Because as we just saw that brahmacharis don't earn, even the vanaprasthas don't earn, and the sannyasis don't earn. So this is the duty of the family, the person living in husband and wife living in grahastha to support the other three ashramas. So if a person is just living a life with just maintaining them, family, children, wife, or the extended family, they are not called grasthas. They are called grahamedhis. I was reading one pastime by Srila Prabhupada, in which one Mataji got married, and she was a little confused over her duties with her husband. So the Prabhupada gave her the example of two hands, how the right hand and the left hand. We have two hands, left and right. And husband and wife are like two hands. And the two hands, they work for the body. Yeah. Left hand doesn't say that I'm going to satisfy myself, and the right hand doesn't say I'm going to just work for myself only. They work for the body. The body wants to eat, so they work, they earn, they do job, they cook, cut vegetables, do so many things. So they work, they cooperate with each other. It's not only right hand is working, left hand is not working, or left hand is working, right is not working. It doesn't work like that. Both the hands cooperate to satisfy the body. Same way, the husband and wife, they're like two hands, and they work for Krishna. They work together, they cooperate and work for satisfaction of Krishna. Then only it is a successful grasta life. Otherwise, just maintaining the family by any means is not a grasta life. That is called Grahamedhi, where people are more involved in sense gratification rather than cultivating spiritual values. Rather than cultivating spiritual values. That is very important to know that who really is Grasta. Not everyone is Grasta living with a family. Only when spiritual values are followed, then a family becomes a grasta. And I really love this example that Srila Prabhupada gave of a right and left hand, how they cooperate with each other. When we cook also, we see we don't use just one hand. Left hand does something, right hand does something, and they cooperate and do the work. So same way, husband and wife should cooperate and work for satisfaction of Krishna and move forward in the journey. Then when this grasta ashram doesn't last like forever, like usually it is said from 25 to 50, or until your children are you take care of children, and after that maybe like around around 50. But since nowadays this marriage system is totally disturbed, yeah, people don't get married at right age. Sometimes someone is get married at 30, 35. So by the time they're 50, the children are maybe sometimes 10, 12, 13, 14. So it depends on the current day situation. After that, when the family duties are done, comes the vanaprastha life, or retired life, we can say vanaprastha life, where they detach from the family. Husband and wife are completely focused on serving Krishna, serving the Lord. So they're no more involved in earning money, no more involved in doing any job or earning money through any means. Their complete focus is doing spiritual activities, serving Krishna together. Wife is still with husband, but they leave the children, and the children are grown up enough so that they can take care of their well-being. So usually they go to a pilgrimage, some dham like Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, any dham, or they might stay at their place also and serve the local temple. They serve the Lord, they serve, they do the preaching, these kind of activities. So this phase also, the Vanaprastha phase also, there is no earning. There is no need to earn. If Vanaprastha is earning, doing a job, then that is not right. And then comes the fourth ashrama, which is the sannyas ashrama, and where there is no connection with the family. If someone got married, the wife is also not with him, and if someone has lived a brahmachari life from beginning, then definitely they are alone. So completely focused on serving Krishna by preaching, by doing preaching activities, by worshipping the Lord, by chanting the holy name. There is no um, um, uh, like they don't work for how to maintain the body, how to maintain house, how to maintain, like how a grasta has so many responsibility. Vanaprastha, sannyas, brahmachari, they don't have all these things. So they are completely fearless, they're completely detached. Their main focus is to please Krishna, please and work for as given in the scriptures. Teach and preach the importance of self-realization and God consciousness. That is their main um duty. Because especially we see the householders, when they are involved in so many other duties, they get distracted. Yeah, there can be a chance. So the sannyasis, the vanprasthis, they give the teachings. They give the teachings to so that the grastas stay on the right track. So we see here that we have 4 ashramas, and each ashrama has some duty and to follow, and if they follow the duty properly, that leads to the progress of everyone. Everyone progresses in that way. Like for example, we just saw that how in this verse especially the Prabhupada mentioned how grahasthas support other 3 ashramas. How, why they have to support? Because the other 3 ashramas, they are completely focused on spiritual values. They are completely focused on serving the Lord. But Grahastha has some relaxation. eh, Because since they have a family, they are allowed little bit of enjoyment also, family enjoyment, whatever we say. But other 3 ashramas don't have that provision. They're completely focused on serving the Lord and putting their mind on in that field only. So, but grastas, they are earning. So by their earning, they don't only maintain their families, but they support the other 3 ashramas also. So that they don't need to worry about how we have where we will get the food from. Suppose if a sannyasi has to worry where he has to get food from, it's a problematic. Or a vanaprastha has to worry that where I will get food from. I need to have money. I need to earn more money. Then they can't focus on the spiritual life. So it is the duty of grahasthas to give support financially or whatever way. Like a grahastha can be Brahman, a Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. So the duties of Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra are also given in Bhagavad Gita. So in those capacities, he should support the other three. Like a Kshatriya should give protection, should give protection to the other three ashramas. And if someone is a Vaishya, they do a business, cow protection. So they should do those things and in support them in those ways. Shudras should give service to the other three ashramas, service class. So Grasta in whichever, either they can be Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya or Shudra, they should support the other three ashramas so that they can completely focus on their spiritual activities. That is very important. That is actually ashrama. Otherwise, it's not ashrama. All are ashramas. Grasta ashram, brahmachari ashram, they're all ashramas. Because the main focus is cultivating spiritual value. There can be two buildings. Yeah. There is a one building. We have a temple in Philadelphia. That is a big building, and there are houses next to that temple. There are also many other buildings, but those other buildings are not ashramas. Why? Because in this, those just families live and maintain themselves. Yeah, eat, sleep, mate, defend. But that building is a ashrama. A temple is actually an ashrama. Why? Because the spiritual activities, spiritual values are being taught. There a grahastha who is living in a house where spiritual activities are done, spiritual values are being followed. That is actually a ashrama. Actually, we cannot call it a home. It's actually an ashram. So that is the difference between a building and an ashrama, home or ashrama. If someone is just living, not following anything, it can be called a home. But if spiritual values are followed in any building or a home, that becomes an ashram. So it's very important. Yeah, these concepts are very important for us to follow because most of the people we see are grastas nowadays. We see grastas are so. If we don't know our duties, what we have to do, how we have to live, how a husband should live, how a wife should live, then the society will be completely messed up. Rather, the husband and wife, they will become competitors. Yeah, I'm doing this, you are doing this, why you are not doing this? So rather than cooperating, they compete with each other. So which is not recommended. Then that ashrama cannot support the other three ashramas, which is clearly mentioned in this verse, in this purport of this verse by Srila Prabhupada. And in scriptures, we have many examples of the kings who have followed this grastha ashram very nicely according to the scriptures and progress spiritually. So when we support the other three ashram, grahastha, when support the other three ashram, they also progress. They also get spiritual advancement by supporting them, by organizing preaching events. And sannyasi can preach and they can organize the event by through money or arranging so many things, arranging prasadam, so many other things. So that should be done. So we have many examples. We have in scriptures where we have examples of kings who have followed perfect grahastha ashram and made spiritual advancement, because by supporting the other three ashramas, the person also make spiritual advancement. We have example of King Ambrish. Who is example of perfect grahastha king. He perfectly demonstrated how to manage one's family life and remained fully conscious, Krishna conscious at the same time. Both the things. So family life doesn't mean just become family and leave Krishna conscious. Leave the main purpose of life, which is to come out from this material world. Get Krishna Prema. So he is a perfect example. We can see the pastime of Amrish Maharaj in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then we have the example of Pandavas. The five Pandavas, they are the example of perfect grahasthas who were kings, who were princes, they were prince, and they lived a very perfect grahastha life. Once we have all have read that pastime when they were in forest and Durvasa Muni came. So they have to offer him prasad, give food, prasad to him. And they were very serious in the duty. How they were welcoming him, how they were thinking about it. It was, we can read that pastime. How they were serving the other sannyasis and other some brahmana is coming, how to serve them. That is the duty of a grasta. Then there are other examples. We have seen the pastimes of Lord Krishna in Dwarka. He also sets a perfect example. Krishna himself sets a perfect example of how to live a grahastha life. Wake up early in the morning, do your morning duties, and it's not just a wake up and get ready and go for job. There's some morning duties, morning things need to be done. Then person is ready for uh, the future, that rest of the day. So King like Krishna himself, when in his Dwarka pastimes, sets a perfect example of how a grasta should live. Waking up early, doing morning. We can see, we can read in the in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Lord Ram, along with his wife Sita, that also gives us perfect Krishna conscious grasta ashram, how it should be. So it's very important. We can learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. Many other examples are there. These are the only few that I mentioned. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned about his father, that how he used to call this sannyasis every single day and feed them, serve them every single day, and then ask them for blessings for Srila Prabhupada so that he becomes a devotee of Srimati Radharani. So we have many examples that we can see and learn that how in a Grahastha ashram it is very important to support other three ashramas so that spiritual values are being properly followed and the preaching is done very nicely. If the Grahastha support the other three ashram, then there can be a nice preaching and the Krishna conscious movement will spread very nicely, very nicely. So we have many examples. For Grasta, we have many examples in scriptures and Bhaktivinoda Thakur example. Now, right now when I'm saying, so many other examples are coming in my mind. So the gist of this verse, like when I'm coming to the conclusion now. So Kashyap Muni is telling, is talking to Diti and telling how a householder should live. What is the duty of a householder? In Grasta Ashram, what is the specifically in this purport? Prabhupada more detail only on the Grahasthashram only and how we can cross this ocean of nuisance, darkness. It is completely darkness. If there is no knowledge given by the scriptures, given by the sannyasis, given by the devotees, there is only darkness only. So we can cross this ocean of darkness by following our duties. In whichever ashrama we are in, we should follow our duty as given in scriptures. So we have in our society, there are manuals given by devotees on Grasta ashram, how a Grasta should live. So if someone needs to read them, they can read them and it will be of great help so that we can live in this ashram. If someone is Grasta, they can live in this ashram very nicely and progress also. When we progress also spiritually, so achieve the ultimate goal of life, which is going back home, back to Godhead, Krishna, and achieve Krishna Prema. So that's all for today. So with this, I will end. That was my conclusion. So if anyone has any comments, any additions, if someone wants to make, they can please go ahead. Hare Krishna, and thank you for your kind listening. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Bhavagrahi Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for a very nice class.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So my question is this: a lot of the examples we gave that you gave, and a lot of the procedures and functionalities of a grihasta is under the assumption that both husband and wife are devotees. Now,
Yes.
that's not always the case.
Yes.
So I can tell that right from my situation. My wife is not a devotee. She has no interest in being a devotee.
Mhm.
I know many other, devotees whose spouses are not devotees. So how does that work then?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Prabhu, because whatever we were hearing, those are perfect situation. Husband and wife both are devotees, but we have seen that there are many families where sometimes husband is a devotee and wife is not a devotee, and sometimes there are cases where wife is a devotee and husband is not a devotee. Even in those cases, even in those cases, suppose as you said, like if a husband is a devotee, wife is not a devotee, we should be very compassionate to the spouse. Suppose like this is what I have heard and read also. We should be very compassionate, and we should give Krishna conscious in whatever way is possible. In whatever way, sometimes it's possible easy to give Krishna conscious to people who are not interested in, by giving them prasad. That is the easiest way I feel, to give prasad to other people. If they are not interested in coming to the temple or associating with devotees, then it's not possible. But we should still be very compassionate. We cannot say, okay, you are not a devotee, so I have my separate way, you have your separate way. That is not recommended for today's situation, because husband should, or either like whoever it is, husband or a wife, if they are doing Krishna conscious, other person is not doing, they should make their best effort to help them in any way possible. But in that help, they should be very careful. They don't leave their bhakti. Like we are trying to help other person, but it's not that in helping we go so much that we forget our spiritual sadhana. Like Bharat Maharaj, he was helping the deer, but he went so much that he forgot everything. So we should try to help other person in whatever way possible, and be nice to them. Be so that sometimes people think, oh, after becoming devotee, people become very rude because they know the philosophy now. They know that main purpose of life is Krishna consciousness. So they don't behave nicely to the people who are not devotees. So that we have to take care. We should be very nice to other people, even though they are not devotees, and we should try to help them as much as possible in any way. It can be a very simple way, but even one small thing can give them later, maybe not next life, but not in this life, maybe next life, it can help them. That's what I think, Prabhu. Yeah.
Thank you.
Does it help, Prabhu? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. It's a very nice class. And especially you are telling about Prabhupada saying that two hands has to cooperate.
Yes.
Really, that is a good thing, example he gave us. And cooperation is the main thing. Like Bhavagrahi Janardhan Prabhu is saying, that entirely against that thing, it breaks everything. But little bit cooperation makes a lot of benefit. So anything is in life. That is a simple thing, two hands Prabhupada ji gave. Because when you have to give pranam, you have to use two hands. So that is very important for everything. Two hands are like two hands. Cooperation is like necessary.
Yes.
So they hear this. Some people they don't like the Krishna conscious. Some people, in family also, it's very hard, but it takes little time. The way you just cooperate and the way just you explain like that, because that makes, if you say strong, then it might break. But if we say smoothly, that will help a lot. Any life, anything in life.
Yeah, so there can be situations. So if someone is facing problem, they can get help from their spiritual master or senior Vaishnavas. So it's not a general statement. It can be
Yeah,
different circumstances. So I just mentioned what I heard and read. So there can be different situations like of dealing also. So whatever
yeah,
I heard, whatever I have heard, I mentioned it. So,
yeah.
but if still there can be a problem, so a person can consult their spiritual master or some senior Vaishnavas, and they can recommend whatever is best for them.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
because not one situation is good for everyone. So, I mentioned just one
Yeah, that
situation.
is another
So
thing.
it might not be okay for everyone. So they can consult the spiritual master or senior Vaishnavas, their mentors, and they can help them in dealing in that particular situation. If one of the spouse, like a husband or a wife, is not devotee or is not cooperating, then they can seek help and they can guide them on what to do. Because what I mentioned is only the one way.
Yeah, yeah.
There can be other ways also, which we can take guidance from senior.
Like you said, spiritual master is the best guide.
Yes, yeah. So
That is the
yeah.
important thing we need to, because he teaches us everything.
So
Eh,
whatever is right for our spiritual life, they will tell us whether to, if the wife is not a devotee or a husband is not a devotee, they will tell us how to deal with it, how to move forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
Hare,
Thank you very much for a nice class.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Anyone else? Hare Krishna. So if there is nothing, yeah, we'll end for today. Yeah. And we'll conclude this class today by offering pranam prayers to all accepting Vaishnavas. Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnave
vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
अनंत कोटि
But
वैष्णव
Vaishnav.
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय
Bye.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Thank you.